Sri Lanka's parliamentary election, which was held today, have closed now. What will the new parliament here in Sri Lanka look like? And can President Anura Dissanayake increase the number of seats in the House from the previously held 3 seats to a majority? Stay with WION as we bring you all the live updates right here from Colombo. Hello there, you are watching Inside South Asia with me, Dissanayake, and let's get started. After presidential elections were held in September, Sri Lankans were headed to the polls once again on the 14th of November for parliamentary elections. Here's a roundup of all the highlights on the parliamentary polls. Around 65% of voter turnout was recorded in the polls today. It was the first major test of the popularity of the ruling party, the NPP. It's also the first parliamentary election since Sri Lanka plunged into an economic crisis and declared sovereign default in mid-April of 2022. The polls will determine whether the island nation wants to further empower its new president, Anura Dissanayake. Dissanayake seeks to secure a majority in parliament to push his policies and implement his reforms programs.
As a citizen of the country, it is our duty to vote and send the right people to parliament. I use my vote today to carry out that duty.
I came to select people who can serve the country without any corruption. So that's why we came here to vote, to select the correct candidate.
As citizens of this country and as a businessman involved in the leisure sector, we expect a stable government which can bring up this economy. Tourism plays a very vital role in Sri Lankan economy. Therefore, peaceful environment that is conducive to carry out any business is what we anticipate from the election.
Of the total 225 seats in Parliament, Sri Lankans vote directly for 196 seats. For the remaining 29, political parties elect lawmakers on the basis of national vote percentage of every party. Just days after he was elected president, Dissanayake had dissolved Parliament on the 24th of September to clear the way for the general election. His party, NPP, currently has just 3 lawmakers in the outgoing parliament as per the 2020 mandate. His main challenger is Sajith Premadasa's SJB, which holds 54 seats in the outgoing parliament.
මනුෂ්‍ය අපිට වැදගත් වෙන්නේ මිනිසුන් හැටියට මනුෂ්‍යත්වය. එයා ස්ත්‍රීද පුරුෂද කියන එක නෙවෙයි. ලිංගිකත්වය නෙවෙයි. අපිට එහෙම සමාජයක් නැත්තම් එහෙම සමාජයක් හදන්න තමයි මේ අපි ඒ වෙනස කරන්න තමයි මේ කරන්නේ. මේක එක එක්තරා වෙනසක්. ඒ පරිවර්තනයේ ක්‍රියාවලිය එක පියවරක් නේ.
Counting begins at 10 p.m. tonight, and we should have a picture on the new parliament by afternoon on Friday. All eyes on which way the wind is blowing. Most people associate Afghanistan with a plethora of social issues, as well as a misogynist and regressive Taliban government. But there is a bigger malaise at work that is diminishing the livelihoods of those in Afghanistan, as well as threatening food security. And that is climate change. For the first time in years, a Taliban delegation will attend the COP29 summit held in Afghanistan. Here's a report.
Images so often repeated of what is projected to the world as the most ruthless, ferocious, hateful force on the planet. For the world, Afghanistan today has come to mean repression and misogyny, and basic rights trampled and abused. Most surveys on most paradigms rank Afghanistan at the bottom of the list. But there is a realization too, that perhaps the source of all the misery lies elsewhere. Adding to economic vulnerabilities arising out of decades of war is devastation made worse by severe droughts, rising temperatures, and major swings in the weather. Recent assessments rank Afghanistan the 6th most climate vulnerable country in the world. Desertification has affected more than 75% of the total land areas in the country's northern, western, and southern regions. Mountains are now dry and bare, and medicinal trees and plants that grew there are virtually extinct. Water sources from melting ice in the mountains have dried up along with vegetation. At least 60% of the population is dependent on rain-fed agriculture, but big shifts in rain and snow patterns are hitting livelihood practices. 25 of Afghanistan's 34 regions are hit by severe drought conditions, affecting more than 50% of the people living there. It is with all this in mind that an Afghan delegation has gone to the COP29 in Baku. The Taliban team has got observer status at the meet. The Taliban remains a pariah globally, with no diplomatic relations with any country, but that doesn't take away from the scale of the climate challenges and realities faced. At least there's a realization that the malice needs treatment.
Our main objective is to draw the attention of the international community to the effects of climate change on the people, children, women, the elderly, and all classes of society who are affected. We therefore ask the international community to engage with us on this issue on the basis of interaction and political affairs.
The Taliban government's Environment Protection Agency says it has prepared a national action plan to deal with the raging impact of climate change. There's big focus on updating climate goals in the next few months. Officials point out huge potential that has faded down the decades, needs harnessing and rejuvenation.
We have a huge capacity of utilization of solar energy, and we are working on it in Srubi. But that is not the only thing. We have the capacity of producing energy from wind, but as I have already said that one nation or one government cannot do everything, and for that we need international support to achieve our goals.
In this abyss, so many ills have come to become interrelated. Climate change that degrades the soil, that depletes crop production and hits livestock and forces people and groups to adopt negative coping strategies such as child marriage and child labor. That gives rise to a host of other evils, leads to internal and external migration. It's an unending and vicious spiral that this once heavenly land struggles to get out of.
Air pollution levels in Pakistan's Lahore city have gone through the roof this last week. So much so, the UNICEF has now stepped in to raise concern about the health risk on 11 million children. That's not all. Across the border, New Delhi is also coughing and wheezing through the haze. Here's a report.
You just live with it. the daily battle through breathing issues and burning eyes that give a pollution and climate problem health dimensions. Some shrug and chug on, others raise a human cry, but all feel it.
I'm struggling with shortness of breath and watery eyes, likely from poor air quality. I'll stay home until it's safe to venture out.
And you can't step outside, you can't take the kids anywhere, you can't even open your doors and windows because then the smoke comes in and it's terrible.
The haze shrouding several Pakistani cities is made up of a mix of low-grade fuel emissions from polluting kilns, factories and vehicles. Agricultural stubble burning adds to the concoction. Cooler temperatures and slow-moving winds ensure the horror sticks. The air quality index in Pakistan's cultural capital Lahore and 17 other districts of Punjab province has scaled unprecedented highs this last week. Levels of toxicity doubled and even tripled over previous years. Multan at 1,000 plus, Lahore overshooting 800 and the like. As alarm bells ring out, action followed. Educational institutions and public spaces like parks and zoos have been closed for the week. Authorities have told people to avoid unnecessary travel. Amid clear signals of a confused policy to handle the annual menace, environment protection officials and organizations insist the bigger battle is on too, towards forcing the polluters to change their ways. Across the border, the Indian capital is feeling the heat of air pollution. Air quality in Delhi has been in the very poor category for more than 2 weeks now, and officials say it is likely to stay that way well into next week. It's been near zero visibility at the Indira Gandhi International Airport. Here again, that toxic mix of smoke from crop residue, vehicular pollution and the like wreak havoc.
The difference between smoker and non-smoker is gone. 50-50 is the current distribution. So a so-called smoker and a so-called non-smoker, according to my data, and it is also corroborated by other cancer centers, it's an equal distribution, which is a very, very alarming change in a short span of 30 years that I've seen. And I attribute it to air pollution because 22 micrograms of PM2.5 is equal to 1 cigarette in terms of lung damage. So if your PM2.5 today is say 400, it's almost equal to smoking 20 cigarettes. So in true sense, in a polluted cities, there is no true non-smoker, everybody is a smoker. We are seeing more cancer, more in non-smokers, younger age, and also in women. So it's a very frightening scenario which is evolving primarily due to exposure to air pollution.
In hospitals too, the numbers are staggering in both India and Pakistan. 55,000 smog-hit patients in Lahore in the last week, 40,000 with breathing problems, 7,000 with eye infections, 6,000 people with ear, nose and throat infections. For all of them, it's not life as usual. Poison in the air that people breathe ensures that no one gets away. For North Pakistan and also North India, it is an annual nightmare. All the people can do is hope that it'll be better next time.
Grammy nominations are out and there is something to celebrate for the Indian subcontinent. Up next, we take a look at all the other stories that have made headlines in the region.
In a moment of pride for the Indian subcontinent, 6 Indian origin artists, including Ricky Cage, Anushka Shankar and Varijashri Venugopal, and acclaimed Pakistani-American artist Arooj Aftab, have been nominated for Grammys 2025. With 3 Grammy wins, this marks Cage's 4th nomination. Anushka Shankar has received 2 nominations. She's been nominated in the Best New Age, Ambient or Chant Album category, and in the Best Global Music Performance category. For Pakistan, singer Arooj Aftab secured Grammy nominations for the 4th year in a row. She has got 2 nominations in different categories. Aftab won a Grammy in 2022 for her song Mohabbat. In 2023, She became the first Pakistani artist to perform at the Grammys ceremony. The world's most prestigious and significant award in the music industry is all set to be held on 2nd February 2025. In a pivotal moment for the Indian judiciary, 64-year-old Justice Sanjeev Khanna took oath as the 51st Chief Justice of India on Monday. The oath of office to Justice Khanna was administered by President Draupadi Murmu at a glittering ceremony held at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and other ministers graced the occasion. Former Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, who Justice Sanjeev Khanna succeeds, was also present. Elevated as a Supreme Court judge on January 18, 2019, Justice Khanna will superannuate on May 13, 2025, after a tenure of a little over 6 months. He holds the distinction of being among the few judges who were elevated to the Supreme Court even before becoming the Chief Justice of any High Court. At least 26 people, including 14 soldiers, were killed and 62 others were wounded in a suicide bombing at Quetta railway station in the restive Balochistan province in Pakistan on the 9th of November. The dastardly attack, the deadliest since August, has been claimed by the Baloch Liberation Army. Balochistan is Pakistan's largest province by territory, but the smallest in terms of population. Despite being blessed with mineral resources and vast reserves of natural gas, the province has remained the country's poorest, giving rise to a broader rebellion. The decades-old rebel movement blames the Pakistani government for neglecting its residents and unfair distribution of resources. In the recent past, the militants have targeted energy projects with foreign financing, most notably from China.
Now from the world of sports, India's cricket administrators have decided that the national team will not travel to Pakistan to attend the Champions Trophy that is scheduled to be held in February next year. What are the causes and implications? Take a look at this report.
The Champions Trophy is set to begin on February 19th, 2025. It will be the first ICC event hosted by Pakistan since the 1996 World Cup, when they were joint hosts with India and Sri Lanka. To prepare for this major event, the PCB has invested millions upgrading stadiums in Karachi, Lahore and Rawalpindi. The three venues set to host 15 matches. So when reports emerged that India is unwilling to travel and is pushing for a hybrid model, Pakistan was clearly unhappy, especially since this is not the first time India has refused to play in Pakistan. Pakistan were also hosts of the 2023 Asia Cup, but had to accept a hybrid model after India declined to travel due to security concerns. And when India's stance became official, Pakistan responded strongly.
Until now, no discussion of the hybrid model has happened, nor are we prepared to accept one. The Indian media are reporting it, but no formal communication has reached the PCB.
They threatened to pull out of all international matches against India. Islamabad saw this as New Delhi politicizing sports and reportedly decided to lobby against India's bid to host the 2036 Summer Olympics. This marks a significant shift in Pakistan's stance. Pakistan travelled to India as recently as 2023 for the ODI World Cup, and they hoped India would reciprocate in 2025. With their backs against the wall, the PCB turned to the Pakistani government, which ordered them to stand firm, even if it meant having financial consequences. The PCB then requested clarification from the ICC in a letter, stating they won't accept a hybrid model and are prepared to host the event with or without India. India's refusal to travel was not a surprise. The Indian cricket team hasn't visited Pakistan since the Asia Cup in 2008, citing political tensions and claims of Pakistan-sponsored terrorism in Kashmir. An ICC event without a marquee India vs Pakistan clash is unheard of. But with neither Pakistan nor India willing to compromise, the Champions Trophy remains under a cloud of uncertainty. And this may not bode well for Pakistan, as former BCCI Secretary Jay Shah assumes the ICC chair on December 1st. Remember, Shah also heads the Asian Cricket Council and authorized the hybrid model for the 2023 Asia Cup.
And that's all we have for you on our show this week. Before we leave, take a look at these colorful visuals from the desert town of Pushkar in India, where herders gather for a camel trading fair. Take a look while I take your leave. For the WION team, I'm Dissanayake signing off.
WION Health Resort is unique, the only one of its kind. Experience the 4 paths of natural wellness: yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy. Each uniquely customized program improves the whole person to make every person whole. Come to WION Health Resort. Make your reservation at yowon.com.
Bhool Bhulaiya 3 continues to smash records at the box office. And we tell you why horror comedies are becoming a huge success.
Hi, this is Vidya Balan.
Meet Indian actor Vidya Balan. She talks about Manjalika in Bhool Bhulaiya 3. And say hello to a band of boys as they help us take a deep dive into nostalgia. All this and much more with me, Isha Hanspal, at these times only on WION E-Club.
WION brings you a special business talk show where we bring forth the stories of business leaders.
From breakthrough technologies to visionary leadership. We will unlock the trends, the tactics, and dive into the minds of the industry's most influential leaders.
WION brings you this special series to uncover what drives them in a candid talk show, WION Business Masters.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world.